He had wandered into the dark woods, lost and alone. Then, a shadow glimmered, a horse moving like smoke. Little did he know, following it would lead him to a destiny no one could have imagined. The night pressed down on the forest like a heavy blanket. Shadows stretched between the trees, twisting and shifting with the wind. A boy, no more than 12, stumbled along a narrow path, his small hands scraping against rough bark. Every step made a crunch on the dry leaves, and each sound seemed to echo a little too loudly. He had wandered from home earlier that evening, chasing a spark of curiosity that had turned into fear. Now, with the moon hanging low in the sky, he realized how alone he truly was. The familiar sense of home were gone, replaced by damp earth and pine. Somewhere far off, an owl hooted, and a branch snapped under an invisible weight. He froze. The boy's heart hammered. He thought he saw movement between the trees, a flash of something darker than the night itself. He blinked, and it was gone. A chill crawled up his spine, and he rubbed his arms to stay warm. A strange sound floated through the forest, soft but deliberate, like hooves brushing against the ground. He turned toward it, fear and curiosity battling in his chest. There, in the silver light of the moon, a figure emerged. A horse, black as midnight, stood perfectly still, eyes glinting with something the boy could not name. Its breath formed small clouds in the cold air, and it seemed to be waiting. For a long moment, the boy and the horse simply stared at each other. Every instinct screamed for him to run, but something deeper, something unknown, told him to stay. He had no idea that following this shadow through the night would lead him to a place far beyond anything he had ever imagined. The boy's legs trembled, but he did not move. The horse shifted slightly, its dark mane flowing like smoke in the pale moonlight. Its eyes caught his, glinting with a strange intelligence that made the boy's stomach twist. There was something not quite ordinary about this creature. He took a cautious step forward. The horse did not run. It tilted its head, as if inviting him closer. The boy swallowed hard. He could hear his own heartbeat pounding in his ears, loud enough to mask the soft sounds of the forest around him. The wind whispered through the branches, carrying a scent he could not place, like rain before it falls, sharp and clean. Then, without warning, the horse turned and trotted a few steps down the narrow path, stopping again and glancing back. The boy's curiosity burned brighter than his fear. He took another step, then another. He had no idea why, but something deep inside told him to follow. The forest seemed to change around him. The shadows grew thicker, curling like fingers, and the trees twisted into shapes that made him glance over his shoulder. Every sound, the snap of a branch, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of an animal, made his heart leap. Yet the horse moved with ease, as if it knew exactly where it was going, cutting through the dark like a living shadow. Hours, or maybe minutes' time, felt different here. The boy followed the horse through winding paths and over uneven ground. His legs ached, and his lungs burned, but he could not stop. Every so often, the horse would pause, its eyes meeting his, almost checking to see if he was still brave enough to continue. Finally, the horse stopped in a small clearing. The moonlight spilled over an ancient stone structure partially hidden by vines. The boy's breath caught. It looked abandoned, yet it radiated a strange energy that made the hairs on the back of his neck rise. The horse stood silently, watching him, waiting. The boy knew, without understanding why, that this place was where something important awaited him. Something that could change his life forever. And in that moment, the forest around him did not feel threatening. It felt alive, watching, and full of secrets. The boy's pulse raced as the horse turned and disappeared into the trees. Without thinking, he ran after it, boots scuffing against roots and fallen branches. The forest seemed to close in around him, shadows twisting and shifting as though alive. Every step was a risk. He stumbled over rocks, caught his foot in roots, and nearly fell into a shallow stream, but he could not stop. The horse moved gracefully, always just out of reach. Its hooves made soft thuds that echoed through the night, and every so often, the boy caught a glimpse of its glowing eyes in the darkness. It was as if the creature was leading him somewhere, and the boy knew, deep down, that turning back was no longer an option. A sudden gust of wind sent leaves spiraling around him. Something rustled in the underbrush nearby, and the boy froze, chest tight with fear. He imagined creatures watching him, waiting for a moment of weakness. The moonlight barely pierced the thick canopy above, and the shadows seemed to dance with every sway of the trees. Yet the horse kept moving forward, calm and steady. Its presence was almost comforting, though the boy could not explain why. The forest felt older here, older than any place he had ever known. Strange sounds echoed, low murmurs, whispers of air through leaves, and distant hooves that did not belong to the horse. Branches scratched at his arms and face, but he ignored the pain. He was drawn forward by something he could not name, a pull stronger than fear. He felt like he was being tested, pushed, and challenged. Finally, after what felt like hours, the horse paused near the edge of a fog-covered clearing. The boy's chest heaved with exhaustion, sweat and cold mingling on his skin. Ahead of him, half hidden in the mist, was something enormous and ancient. Stone walls jutted from the ground, worn and broken, but still imposing, as if they had been waiting for him for centuries. The horse turned its head, eyes locking with his one last time before stepping toward the ruins. The boy knew that whatever lay ahead would change everything. He swallowed hard, took a deep breath, and stepped into the unknown. The boy stepped into the clearing, and the air changed instantly. It was heavier somehow, charged with a quiet energy that made his skin tingle. Mist swirled around his ankles, and the faint glow of the moon turned silver as it hit the stone ruins. He could see carvings on the walls, strange symbols that pulsed with a faint light, like they were alive. The horse stood silently at the edge, watching him. Its breath steamed in the cold air, and its eyes seemed almost human in their understanding. The boy wanted to ask it questions, but no words came. Instead, he moved forward, drawn by the feeling that something extraordinary waited inside. As he approached, he noticed movement in the mist. Shadows shifted, but when he blinked, they were gone. Strange plants grew between the stones, glowing softly in shades of blue and green. Their light reflected in the horse's eyes, making them shine like lanterns in the dark. Every step felt like walking deeper into a dream he could not wake from. A sudden noise made him jump a low, humming vibration that seemed to come from the stones themselves. The symbols on the walls flickered as if responding to him. The boy's heart thumped. He realized the place was alive in a way he had never imagined. It was not dangerous, not exactly, but it demanded attention. Then, in the center of the clearing, he saw it, a small pool of water, perfectly still, reflecting the moon and the horse. The water shimmered, almost like liquid glass. Something about it called to him, whispering in a language he did not understand but somehow felt. The horse moved closer, nuzzling the boy gently, urging him forward. He knelt at the edge of the pool, staring into its depths. For a moment, he thought he saw his own reflection, change, his eyes brighter, his expression older, as if the pool was showing him a future he could not yet reach. The boy stood slowly, heart racing with a mix of fear and wonder. He understood that this hidden world had chosen him. It had been waiting for someone brave enough to follow, someone who could see what others could not. And as he looked at the horse, standing silently beside him, he knew there was no turning back. Something incredible was about to begin. The boy's eyes never left the shimmering pool. For a moment, he felt weightless, as if the air itself held him up. Then, a soft voice seemed to echo from the stones around him. It was not a human voice, yet somehow he understood it. "You were meant to find this place," the voice said. "You are the one who can awaken what has been waiting." The boy swallowed hard, his heart hammering. "Awaken? What am I supposed to do?" he whispered, his voice trembling. The horse stepped closer, lowering its head so that its nose brushed his shoulder. Its eyes glimmered like starlight, filled with patience and knowing. The boy felt a strange courage rise inside him, as though the horse was lending him strength. "You have a choice," the voice continued. "But if you turn back, the path will close forever. Only the brave may see the world as it truly is. Only the brave may protect it." The boy looked around the clearing, at the glowing symbols, the strange plants, and the pool that reflected more than his own face. A thrill of fear and excitement ran through him. He realized the forest had never been ordinary. He had wandered here for a reason, and the horse had led him for a purpose he could not yet fully understand. The voice spoke again. "The balance has been broken. Shadows move where they should not. Creatures of darkness will come. You are the one who can restore what has been lost. You must follow the path, learn the truth, and face what others cannot." The boy's knees shook. The thought of danger made his stomach tighten, but the pull of destiny was stronger than his fear. He felt a sudden connection to the horse, as if the animal itself had been waiting for him for centuries, guiding him to this moment. He knelt at the pool once more. This time, when he looked into the water, he saw more than his reflection. He saw himself standing tall, surrounded by light and shadow, facing creatures he had never imagined. He saw a path winding through the forest, lit by the glow of unseen forces. He saw a future only he could walk. Standing, he pressed a hand to the horse's flank. "I'll do it," he said. "Whatever this is, I'll see it through." The horse whinnied softly, a sound that was both proud and approving. The symbols on the walls flared briefly, bathing the clearing in a soft, golden light. The boy knew then that the journey would be dangerous, that he would face trials that tested everything he thought he knew about courage and himself. But he also knew that he had found his purpose. The hidden world had revealed his destiny, and he could not turn away. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, following the horse into the shadows where his true journey awaited. The forest seemed alive now, every shadow moving with intent. The boy followed the horse along winding paths that twisted and turned, revealing dangers at every step. Sharp roots clawed at his shoes, and strange sounds echoed from the darkness, whispering threats he could not understand. At the edge of a dark grove, the first trial appeared. A shadowy figure, tall and shifting like smoke, blocked the path. Its eyes glowed red, and a low, menacing growl filled the air. The boy froze, every instinct screaming to run, but the horse nudged him forward. He took a deep breath and stepped toward the figure. The forest held its breath with him. Suddenly, the shadow lunged, but the boy remembered something the horse had shown him: a rhythm, a pattern. He dodged, moved, and found courage he did not know he had. The figure recoiled, then vanished into the darkness, leaving a faint trail of silver light. Deeper into the forest, the trials grew harder. He faced roaring streams he had to cross on slippery stones, strange illusions that twisted the path ahead, and puzzles carved into ancient trees that tested his mind. With every obstacle, he grew stronger, faster, and more confident. The horse remained his silent guide, patient and unwavering. The boy began to understand the lessons hidden in each challenge. Courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Strength was not just in muscles, but in the heart, and true wisdom came from seeing what others could not. By the time they reached a moonlit clearing, the boy had changed. He was no longer the lost, timid child who had wandered into the forest. He carried himself with quiet determination, ready to face whatever awaited. The horse stepped aside, as if to say, "This is your moment." The boy looked ahead, sensing the greatest challenge was yet to come. He had transformed, but the journey was far from over. The clearing ahead was vast, bathed in moonlight that barely pierced the thick mist. The boy's heart pounded in his chest as he stepped forward, the horse silently at his side. Shadows twisted unnaturally around the edges, forming shapes that seemed almost human, almost alive. The air itself felt heavy, as if it held its breath. From the darkness, a low growl rumbled. The boy froze. A figure emerged, tall, cloaked in black, with eyes like burning coals. Its presence radiated power and danger, and the boy realized this was the force that had unsettled the hidden world. Every instinct screamed to run, but he stood his ground, feeling the courage that had grown inside him during his trials. "You should not have come here," the figure hissed. Its voice seemed to echo from all directions. "This place belongs to shadows, and you are nothing but a child." The boy's hands shook, but he lifted his chin. "I am here to protect this place. I will not let you destroy it." The figure advanced, shadows stretching to strike. The boy dodged instinctively, remembering the patterns he had learned, the lessons the forest had taught him. He moved with precision, faster than he thought possible, guided by instinct and the horse's silent encouragement. The battle became a blur of motion, shadows lunging, the boy ducking, dodging, and striking in ways he did not fully understand. Light and darkness collided, sparks flying from the ground where shadow and courage met. The boy felt pain, fear, and exhilaration all at once. Finally, with a surge of strength he did not know he possessed, he pushed the figure back. The shadows faltered, retreating into the mist. The boy stood tall, breathing hard, realizing that the forest itself seemed to respond to his victory. The clearing glowed softly, the symbols on the stones shining brighter than ever. The horse whinnied, a sound that echoed like a triumph through the night. The boy looked around, feeling a deep connection to the hidden world. He had faced the darkness, and he had not faltered. In that moment, he understood the full weight of his destiny and the truth of the courage he had discovered within himself. The shadows dissolved into the night, leaving the boy standing victorious, ready to step fully into the life he had been chosen to lead. The forest was quiet now. The shadows that had once twisted and lunged were gone, leaving only the soft glow of the moon and the shimmering symbols on the stones. The boy stood in the clearing, chest heaving, feeling both exhaustion and a strange, exhilarating sense of peace. The horse nuzzled him gently, as if to say, "You did what was needed." The boy stroked its mane, feeling the warmth and strength of the creature that had guided him through every trial. He realized that he had grown in ways he could not have imagined, braver, wiser, and more certain of who he was. He looked around at the hidden world, at the glowing plants and the ancient stones, and felt a connection deeper than anything he had known before. This place had chosen him, but he had earned it through courage and determination. Every trial, every moment of fear, had led him here. Yet, even in victory, a quiet question lingered in his mind. The forest was alive, full of secrets and mysteries, and he sensed that his journey was not truly over. There were still paths he had not seen, lessons he had not learned, and shadows he might yet face. But for now, he was ready. He had discovered his destiny and the strength to follow it wherever it might lead. The horse whinnied softly, and together they began to move through the clearing. The boy did not look back. He carried with him the lessons of the night, the courage he had earned, and the understanding that the hidden world would always be part of him. As he disappeared into the silver mist, the moonlight caught on the pool of water, shimmering with a soft, otherworldly glow. Somewhere in the distance, a whisper of wind seemed to promise that the story was far from over and that new adventures awaited those brave enough to follow the shadows.